What's your expected salary after graduation?
Well, just after graduation, maybe 10,000 to 20,000 RMB a month. My major is administrative management, 50,000 to 100,000 RMB. Biomedical engineering, over 10,000 RMB. Mechanical engineering, 15,000 RMB or more before tax would be fine. Energy and power engineering, I hope for at least 8,000 RMB. After all, I've studied for so many years. What year are you in at university? I'm a sophomore, traffic engineering major. I might go for a PhD or stop at a master's. If I get a master's, I think I could earn 30,000 to 50,000 RMB a month. If I get a PhD, I feel like 100,000 RMB a month would be considered low. Students study diligently for over a decade, dreaming of a bright future. However, let's take a look at the harsh reality of the job market in mainland China today. I'm a 2025 Humanities Master's graduate. From last year's fall recruitment to this year's spring recruitment, I still haven't found a job. I've sent out about 8,000 resumes, attended job fairs, but HR thinks I'm too old. I don't know if it's the tough job market or something wrong with me. During my graduate studies, I kept winning awards, national scholarships, various research and design awards, and worked on government projects with my advisor. But now, I can't find a job. My parents invested so much in me over the years, so much sunk cost. I feel too ashamed to face them and don't dare contact them. I've applied for every kind of job, but it's so hard. I'm anxious every day, can't sleep, and try to keep myself busy. I can't believe my life is going to end up like this, can I? I have no one to talk to.
来，一个鸟不拉屎的地方。我刚面试完，刚出来，我都。
I just finished an interview in some godforsaken place. I regret even coming here. They offered me 2,500 RMB a month with a 3-month probation period and maybe a tiny subsidy afterward. I'd rather work as a waiter. How can it be this absurd? Is finding a job really this hard? And it's 6 days a week, 1 day off, with hours tied to a school's schedule. If students have evening study sessions, you have to stay too, with no rest at all. Degrees are so worthless now. I spent over a decade studying, 7 years on my bachelor's and master's combined, with tuition fees of 10,800 RMB a year. People say I'm only worth a 2,500 RMB salary. I admit in college, I focused on studying and getting scholarships because my family isn't well off. I wanted to ease their burden. I didn't have the brains to start a business or anything, just did some part-time jobs so I lack work experience. When HR asks if I have experience, I really don't. So you say I'm only worth a 2,500 RMB job. I'm from Jiangsu, but I came to Shenyang and don't want to go home. If I go back, relatives will ask, where are you working? You spent so much on education. How much do you earn?
家人们，西安25年的就业环境到底有多差？
How bad is the job market in Xi'an in 2025? I've tested it for you. It's impossible to find a job. I thought my degree from a top university and experience at a Fortune 500 company made me invincible. But even Elon Musk would have to make 500 phone calls to get a job here. Some have calculated that raising a college graduate costs parents over 1 million RMB. Assuming a monthly salary of 5,000 RMB and a steady career for 25 years, the total earnings would only be 1,300,000 RMB. This year, China has 12,222,000 college graduates, while companies are shutting down or laying off workers. Employers set outrageous requirements, aiming to hire all-around talent at the lowest possible cost. At job fairs, some companies offer an annual salary of 48,000 RMB for master's graduates, less than 4,000 RMB a month. Students complain, that's cheaper than selling cabbages at a market. They're treating diplomas from China's top universities like scrap paper. HR staff also grumble. The boss told us to write proficient in 3 foreign languages, plus 5 years of project experience. But the salary is only 2,500 RMB. One tech company demanded expertise in quantum computing plus artificial intelligence for a monthly salary of 8,000 RMB, less than what a delivery rider earns. A refrigeration system engineer position required 3 years of experience plus CAD proficiency, offering 4,000 RMB a month. An international trade sales role demanded English TEM, 8 certification plus overseas negotiation skills, with a base salary of 2,500 RMB, no meals or housing provided. HR privately revealed. The boss says high requirements weed out entitled students, and low salaries build resilience. First company, a state-owned heavy machinery firm. They were hiring for finance. The HR looked at my resume, saw my internship at one of China's big 4 accounting firms, and said, "Not bad, you could do finance." "What's your expected salary?" I said, "Above 12,000 RMB. I didn't even dare ask for more. "No way, no way. We're hiring for overseas positions? Those pay double." "Overseas where?" "How much?" "Myanmar, Laos, Southeast Asia, those places. They were in the news recently for human trafficking and scam compounds. 150,000 RMB. Second company, a financial institution. The girl in front of me was a master's graduate. The HR looked at her resume and said, "This resume won't do. You'd better have Big 4 internship experience." When I heard Big 4, I handed in my resume. But before I could even sit down, they said, "We don't want undergraduates, only postgraduates." And they said it with a mocking tone and look. Third company, China Agricultural Bank, Beijing branch. They told me, except for tech roles requiring computer science majors, other positions are open to all majors. "No major restrictions?" I asked. "What positions are available?" They said, "Marketing or teller." Me, a 980, 5 undergraduate, S980, 5 refers to China's top universities. Doing that. I once swore I'd rather starve, sleep under a bridge, or beg than work at the Big 4. Now I've learned my lesson. At the job fair, Deloitte handed me a flyer. "We're hiring teachers, 3,000 RMB a month." You know the job market in Beijing is tough. If you get a job paying a few thousand, after rent and food, you're left with nothing. We provide meals and housing, so 3,000 RMB is already pretty good. I said, "I'm not considering it. That's below the personal income tax threshold." I graduated from a 985, and they offer me 3,000. My ranking wasn't even 3,000. I've learned my lesson. I'm humbled now. Even when students lower their expectations and land an interview, they face HR's nitpicking. You just sat down like that? Should I stand up? Sit. But I haven't sat yet, and you just sat down. That's very disrespectful. I've been waiting for you for half an hour. Isn't it normal for you to wait for me? I'm the one interviewing you. Introduce yourself briefly. I graduated from Central China Normal University, Humanities major. I scored 80 on TOEFL. TOEFL 80. What's that, your class score? 80 isn't high, is it? They say humanities students aren't good at technical skills. Do you have any work experience or notable achievements from school? I started my own business in my sophomore year. You didn't study properly in your sophomore year and started a business. You didn't even do well in your studies, and you went off to work. My grades were great. 80 is great. If I had that score, I'd be too embarrassed to mention it. You started a business while in school. Could you even do your main job well? If you work at our company, you won't be thinking about side hustles while working, will you? We don't want people like that. In our industry, there's work after hours, and I hope you can handle it. I can do it. How's overtime pay calculated? There's no overtime pay. You're not at the company after hours, so why should we pay you? If a client messages you in your free time, you should at least reply. Why should I reply when I'm not working? It's your job. You need to stay on top of it. It's not a 24-hour job. Doesn't the company pay you a salary? The salary is for an 8-hour workday. So you only stay at the company for 8 hours. Do you just go home and sleep? Yeah, I like sleeping. What's the difference between you and something that just eats and sleeps? Are you insulting me now? Someone interviewed for an interior design assistant position. The job posting listed a salary of over 3,000 RMB, but during the interview they were devalued and offered less. If you don't know anything, you'd be learning here, so the initial salary won't be high. Can you accept that? What's the initial salary? It's not the company hiring directly. I personally need an assistant. 1,200 RMB a month. Is there a commission? No, but once you're skilled and doing well, the compensation and salary will definitely be decent. I'm not completely clueless. I know CAD, graphic design software, and I've done related work. Then take a look at our showroom. I'll think about it. I don't want to visit now. A student shared a chat screenshot with HR. Do you hire interns? Interns don't get paid, but we can provide a certificate and stamp upon completion. I'm an intern, not a beast of burden. What's a 24-hour shift? Working non-stop without rest. Hello, we're hiring security guards for gate duty. 1 person per post. 24-hour shifts, 2 days off per month, meals and housing provided, salary 5,500 to 6,000 RMB. Aren't you afraid of people dying from exhaustion? Even after landing a job with great difficulty, the reality is grim. One intern, after 5 months, still hasn't been made permanent, working overtime until 9 or 10 p.m. daily. The boss nitpicks, pushing employees to work more without overtime pay. Everything gets dumped on me. Do they think I'm easy to bully? I'm an intern with a 2,000 RMB salary. I've finished my tasks. Am I not leaving tomorrow? Is what you do tomorrow the same as today? But it's already 9 p.m.? Have I left? What does your leaving have to do with me? Put your things down and finish before you go? I signed a labor contract, not a slavery pact. If big companies are like this, what about factories? 9 RMB an hour. If you can't accept it, grab your bags and keep walking. 6 RMB an hour. All 6 RMB. China's job market is getting worse. College graduates face unemployment right after graduation, hitting walls everywhere. Either there are no jobs or the salaries are absurdly low. Those already employed aren't faring much better, swallowing their pride to keep their jobs. Companies that haven't gone bankrupt exploit the situation, squeezing workers dry. Everyone is anxious and helpless, and society is filled with a stifling, powerless atmosphere. Economic slowdown and policy failures have turned employment into a brutal survival game. Information censorship and suppression choke the cries of the youth, and anxiety and helplessness pervade. Students once believed education was the ladder to change their fate, only to find it leads to a dark abyss. In this land, dreams are devoured by low wages, youth is drained by exploitation, and the future is hijacked by endless involution. Only by facing this darkness and tearing off the veil can we find a glimmer of light for millions of young people.